So in this next section, what we wanted to talk a little bit about is kind of a bit this idea that we lose perspective sometimes, why we're doing design. It also ties in a lot with what Philip was just saying, that, you know, why are we doing it? I mean, a lot of what we're doing immediately is to make a client happy. It's to sell a product. It's to, you know, make things that are much more sexy and to excite people. But in the end, I mean, we can't lose sight of that quality of life aspect that Philip was just bringing up. So this next section is on kind of reframing on how design can make the lives of everyday people better. And the first person I'd like to bring up to discuss this is Patrick Marmen, is from the Bureau of Design from the City of Montreal. They're the representative for the Unesco City of Design for Montreal. And it's our city where we are at the Secretariat, so we get to appreciate a lot of Patrick and his team's work, and I really wanted to invite him to get to share a bit of that with you because I think it's been quite effective. So Patrick, please.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. First, I want to thank ICODI to invite us. I'm really grateful of this opportunity, and we don't tell it enough often that we're grateful to have you in Montreal during the last few days, because I took the coordinator position a year ago. I realized how much we share common values and that we should bring you to the table more often. So you tell it a bit. So Montreal has been declared or designated a UNESCO City of Design in 2006, mainly with the goal, we say, of making a better city with more designers, because we strongly believe that designers can help us make a happier, safer, and more sustainable city. The Bureau of Design is a small team of 5 people. We are embedded within the Economic Development Department of the city. So our goal is really to develop the design economy in Montreal, but mainly we do that through the knowing that the city do purchase a lot of design services. And so that's, if we improve the way we work with designers, we will be able to convince the private sectors to work more and better with designers as well. So why a city would work on design and develop municipal action in design? In Montreal, the design commissioner position was created 30 years ago. So it's 30 years of commitment toward design. It's simply because design is really at the heart of the image of the city. It's the way we promote itself, the way we want to attract people, money, investment. But it's also the way it works, the way it functions, the services that we give. They all go through design spaces, design interaction. It's also at the heart of the citizen's experience. The quality of life is also go with design action. So to achieve, or by realizing that, made us invest in design strategies. We, after some years of experience, the city decided to adopt the Montreal 2030 Agenda for Quality and Exemplarity in Design and Architecture as a tool to achieve the more green and social transition. So here, oops, is it me? No. Yeah. So here the idea is that, and even now often when they come to work, when people from other city department or outside the city come to work with us, what they refer to is that they want a wow project, a signature project. They come for us for the aesthetic of design, and we tell them, and that's why we had the design policy, is to say design is much more than that. It goes beyond that. It's also what the policy states is that it's good to have, a good project is achieved through good design objective, a good outcome. But it's not just the outcome. Design is a process, and we're really clear on that in the design policy. So it depends on who chooses the objective and how we implement them. Then we will achieve the good outcome. So the process of design is really important, and our work mainly focuses on the process. So I was telling, for us, design is not only aesthetic. Through the consultation process that we went through to choose, to develop the Montreal Agenda, we ended up having 6 objectives that are more actually values that we use to analyze project quality. And more, we want those common objectives to be the basis line of every design project in Montreal. So they go through this, the lens of this objective. I'll read them quickly. To shape a city that is more conducive to health and wellness, more socially equitable, pluralistic and inclusive, more environmentally responsible, more economically efficient, more culturally attractive and fulfilling, more resilient. So this, for us, what design quality is about. How is it implemented? That's maybe the question. So there's 3 main areas of action. We're seeking to have those guiding principles in every policy document that the city has in multiple departments. And the simple objective that we are 5 people at the design bureau. The city is much more employees. So we need to share this agenda with everybody within the city. So it's not only a work of the design bureau, but it's a work of every department. We also try to develop and experiment new design quality processes. I would say design quality is about the processes that we implement. So we try to, hey, how come quality is considered in public procurement? And so we experiment and we test, and when it's tested, we develop guides and we develop tools to help our colleagues to implement those processes, and then we test new ones. And then we do awareness raising and training of stakeholders in the shift to design quality. And that last example, which I want to stress the importance of it. Like I said, we're a small team. We want all the city to share our goals. We will not be able to do that unless there's a strong social demand for quality. If the Montreal citizen asks for quality, then our politician will ask for quality, then the administration will produce quality. It's all a social, it's a chain or a circle. So the implementation of a design culture for us is really a goal that that we aim to reach and to share the main objective of the agenda. So I thought, this is policy document, I thought of showing you a bit how does it work on the ground. There's one little second example afterwards, but I think that the library program is probably the best way to show how we work with other departments with design strategies. So it comes back to 2007 when Montreal adopted its cultural metropolis policy. In there was really this idea that library would become the basic infrastructure of a city of knowledge. So library were at the start of having a cultural metropolis. And library is not just a library downtown that is nice and good, but not really accessible. It was library in multiples in every neighborhood, and maybe more in neighborhoods that are located or that house vulnerable communities. So it was really to spread libraries throughout the city. Montreal was just becoming a Unesco City of Design. So we say, hey, if we put libraries in every neighborhood, then libraries should become the center of the identity of neighborhood. People should be proud of their libraries. If the people are proud of their libraries, if libraries are accessible, they'll go into them, and they might have access to literature and be interested in literature even more. So here's the result. We have 6 new libraries in 2007 that were built, 4 are still on the road. How it was done, first there was a co-creation process that defined the vision for library. So the cultural department worked with the University of Montreal with their industrial design process to do a design thinking approach. And it was really the library as a third space, a space where people just can go and enjoy and use as another living room, was really decided upon and put forward into the libraries program. Then it was decided with the provincial government that every library that we're building would go through an architectural competition. Why? Because if we do standard public procurement, we have to go to the lowest bidder. Competition was the only way for us to skip that problem, to skip the price out of the way during the tendering process and focus on quality. So then we didn't choose by the amount of money the teams were putting on, but on the idea they were proposing. So then, I really wanted to show, I didn't show exterior image. Okay, they can be impressive, the architecture rendering and the exterior image, and it's often what we recognize. But I wanted to focus on interior spaces to show that people use them, they go, they enjoy the space, and the more they enjoy the space, the more they go, and they recognize the libraries as the center of their neighborhood. But then, in 2019, what happened is that every library were closed because of the COVID lockdown. So what do? We invest so much in libraries, and this idea of libraries that was coming in as the heart of neighborhood, that we were not able to use them. So the close tie that we developed with the culture department of the city helped us to work with them and to design a service design strategy to see, hey, how could we maintain the access to at least books and a minimum access. So we work with a service design firm or agency in Montreal to develop this approach. They analyzed, they did surveys, interviews with the staff, with the potential users, and then ended up with really simple strategies that mainly focus on rehumanizing the experience of the library, of the first space, making people feel comfortable and safe to be there, making the employee feel safe as well, and make the experience just more joyful for the people who were going. So it really shows, design was there all along the way, before the program, for the building, and still now in the living of the building, we still can use design strategies. Just quickly, design can be seen sometimes in unexpected places. The most example that I can say, it is the design for construction site project that we were going on for many years now. There's a lot of construction in Montreal. Those construction sites belong sometimes for the city, sometimes for the provincial government, sometimes for the federal government, sometimes they're private or public, and it's just everywhere. So, and people complain about it. So how can we use a design strategy to improve the life of the people living close, of keeping the shops accessible so they don't lose that much money during that period? And so through many years, starting with colloquium colloquium on what can be done, the toolbox to better inform, delimit, and orient our rock site was developed. And it was simple. The idea was first that if people know what is happening, they will understand better the construction site and they will accept more. So it ended up with the information box that is on your left. And also the wayfinding strategies. It was recognized that that there's mini sign and the orange sign, they are not often pleasant or enjoyable, or you don't relate to them as a user. So other type of wayfinding were developed, so people know that it is not for the drivers or it's not for the construction workers, but it's really for the pedestrians. So I will come back just as a conclusion on the first remark at the beginning. Our goal is really proving that we can do a better city with more designers. We need to involve more designers in the city processes to achieve our goal of making the goal of the city is to achieve the ecological transition, improve inclusion, and even governance and participatory governance. I have a colleague who said sometimes we are like waters. We infiltrate the city in every cracks to see where we can be involved. So if you have any question, I'll just leave our address if you want to know more. The site is bilingual in French and English, so all of our initiatives are on our website.
Thank you so much, Patrick. No, actually, we're about to go to the break, so I'm thinking we can ask Patrick questions during the break, so we'll leave a little bit of extra. Okay. Do you have questions? Liz has a mic. Perfect. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. The question is now about the problems, the identification of the problems. Where are designers also participating in this stage, no. Or are they also only that kind of reactive part, during the service?
Right now, it's our main goal. I have to say, is that it's still part of the problem that we face is that designers are involved at a later stage, and when they are involved, I find the budget are set, the problem are set, the timeline of the project is set. So we want to find, when I'm experimenting processes, the next processes that we'll experiment over the coming years is processes where involve designers way ahead, or maybe that we give the contracts for service design when the program is not finished. So, there can be a continuity between establishing the program, giving the budget, and working the design. So this is one of our problems that we want to focus on in the upcoming years. We succeed in the later part. Now it's the former part that needs to be worked on.
It's very nice and good examples, and for us it's question, you develop processes and develop some guidebooks and things which you apply in Montreal, and is it shareable or publicly accessible, so to use for other cities or countries, like as an example, or apply, let's say, in we would like to apply in Lithuania, let's say, some examples. So can we access this, or you share it by private contact or any?
But the email address is there. Write us. It will be a real pleasure to share everything. Our website, designmontreal.com, is both in English and French, and everything is there. We try to publish everything. All the competition regulation are there. We keep them there. We make everything public, so because the competition needs to be a transparent process. And I present the 6 objectives or the 6 values of design quality. we are developing in our awareness raising a toolbox for quality in design that will be published at the beginning of 2023, and everything that it means will be detailed there by the beginning of next year.
And if you will need help, do you, let's say, mentoring or doing some, let's say,
yeah, we did. Since Kaunas is a UNESCO City of Design, we did a lot of consulting with the other design cities. An old program that we had, Commerce Design Montreal, is now implemented in 13 cities around the world. So it's part of a mandate to share the knowledge that we develop, both internationally and locally in Quebec.
You can tell Vilnius to join the network also so they can have access. That's what networks are for. We can say right now, this is one of the advantages of having networks. Patrick, I'd like to thank you very much for this presentation. It was very interesting. And also, I'd like to add that he didn't get to that, but they did a lot of work actually to incubate a lot of the designers that now are the top, like the names that I'm seeing as having done the projects. A lot of them started out of having one, they had a big grant for designers. So, I mean, the Bureau has been quite important in actually setting the ecosystem of design in the city and then giving them a space to shine. So, I mean, it's been that I think is an exemplary model. I've seen it in very few places. So I'm very happy to have Patrick. So in that case, we are going to go to the break. So we have half an hour. And there's nothing more for me to tell you. You've heard all of the instructions, so please go out, have some coffee, have some drinks, talk to people about the things that you've heard, and we'll meet you back in half an hour. Thank you.